Welcome back to Sidewalk Skyline podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Rogers. On today's episode, I interview Bobby Reaume, a previous guest on this podcast. But this is an interview that took place at the Our City Windsor conference, and we go a little more of a deep dive into his work with Windsor's Soup Shack, a downtown outreach that feeds over 100 people every night in downtown Windsor. This is Bobby Reaume, and I remember about, was it 5 years ago now, Bobby?
3.5.
3.5?
3.5.
Feels like
five.
Yeah. 3.5 years ago, Bobby came back to Windsor and entered into recovery at Launchpad Recovery Center, and he had literally come from the streets. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but from that time until now has been nothing short of a miracle, you know, showing the love of God. For Bobby, your family and people that knew you for many years probably figured there was no hope, there was no coming back, and yet God did the miracle. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me just give a little bit of history, and then I'll start asking you some questions, Bob.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So back in, I think it was 2022, there was a local outreach called Street Angels, and Street Angels was operating out of another church in the city, an Anglican church, and but they were having some challenges with being able to do receiving properly. They were having challenges with storage space and all that kind of thing. And they were about to close the doors on doing Street Angels, which was basically a small group of people that were going into the city at various times to open the trunk of their car or bring backpacks of supplies and just go and interact with people on the street, a lot of the homeless population. And so they came and talked to us, and so we absorbed them into Feeding Windsor-Essex, and with that working together, we were able then to take what they were doing and begin to amplify it and multiply it into something more consistent. There's a lot of people that want to do something and they'll do it on their own, and thank God for them. You know, people who will buy a couple large pizzas and head out on the street and just look for an opportunity to feed people. But tomorrow they're not going to be there, but the people that are street affiliated are going to be there for a while. And so we were able then to start providing a daily food at the homeless hub on Wyandotte, and then we got the idea to get an old trailer and put it out on the street in a fixed location. And from the serving window in the trailer, we prepared soup or stew or different kind of food things that we would prepare in the kitchen here, and then take it to location, and there would be people every night that would serve that. And so the first place that the Soup Shack was located was on the parking lot at Throne of Grace downtown at Victoria Park, and it was there for a few months, and then we needed to move from that location, so we moved on to Wyandotte and Parent, where Parkwood Outreach Center is now located and ministering. They were doing renovations. They weren't open yet, so that was a good place for us to to park the trailer on their parking lot, which I think only has room for about 8 cars. So once they were open, they needed their parking spaces, so we moved and are now located at All Saints Anglican on the back side of the church, facing towards City Hall. And so that's where it is. And Bobby is the volunteer coordinator and the organizer for the Soup Shack. So, Bobby, tell us about how often is the Soup Shack open, and how many people would you say are being served on a regular basis?
The Soup Shack is open 365 days a year, so it's 7 days a week, every night from 7 till 9. And right now we're averaging 120 a night, meals a night, with hot chocolate, coffee, and snacks.
What other kind of things do you hand out as well?
Hugs.
Hugs.
Hugs and love. No, we give clothes out. We give all the daily essentials that someone will need in that 24-hour period, which comes with shampoo, conditioner, body wash, deodorant, dog food, cat food, pee pads, whatever they need in that 24 hours. Clothes, coats, mitts, hand warmers, underwear, socks, all the necessities. We have there on site in that little trailer. It's only 8 feet long, I think it is inside.
8 feet wide.
8 feet wide, 10 feet long, so it gets pretty cramped. But we stack all the stuff in there and we go through it fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and sometimes most nights we'll be out of everything within an hour and a half, maybe 40, sometimes even 45 minutes. So it's pretty fast for a 2-hour span to feed 120 people.
So, in terms of that average 120 people coming out, how many of them would you say are actually living homeless, and how many of them, I mean, this is a little bit of guesswork here, but how many have an apartment or a room or staying at a friend's?
Well, we're the homeless and less fortunate, right?
Yeah.
So our big part is Glengarry. A lot of them come from Glengarry.
Where they have an apartment.
Where they have an apartment. So I would think like 30% homeless, and then split the rest.
Yeah.
There's couch surfers, there's people who have a room, or people who have the Salvation Army, or even at the mission they come from. So actually maybe it's 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for yourself, there was a time when you were living homeless, and when a person is homeless, like we'll see it when we're driving around, right? We'll see. You'll often recognize somebody if they got a shopping cart or shopping carts filled with assorted things, and but there's also homeless people who look and dress just the way that you are.
There's a lot of people living in their cars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people living in smashed up cars. There's people living in the bush. So it's not just the cart people.
Right.
Even though I was one of those.
Yeah.
And I lived in a smashed up car. And I lived on the street. And I lived in the bush. Right? So it varies. But yeah, it's
Talk a little bit about the reality. Let's say that person is truly homeless. They're living in the bush or in an old car, or their car, or pushing the shopping carts around. Sometimes when I've seen the shopping carts, I think, why do they have that stuff in particular? Talk a little bit about talk about things. When you're homeless and your relationship to things.
When you're homeless and you don't have anything, everything you find is yours. So all that stuff, even though it might seem garbage to us, it's gold to them. That's all they got, right? And when someone comes and takes your cart or your clothes from your cart, that just sets you off, right? And it's unreal. But reality is they're doing it every day. So you got these people with their carts, and they worked hard all night or all day to salvage whatever they can salvage for a few bucks, or to change clothes or whatever it is they're doing with it. And then, like, it's hard work. Mm-hmm. Like, I used to go around all night and collect cans and stuff like that too. On my bike, I'd have like 8 bags of cans to bring back to the beer store so you can get money for dope. And that's 8.5 hours.
Yeah. Right?
All night long. You're doing that, and then you wait for the beer store to open or whatever, and that's the thing. It's not like you're just sitting there getting free meals. Those people are working.
Yeah.
They're working, and whatever they find, that's theirs. Right? And because everything else they had is gone. So when they have all that stuff, that's what they hold on to. That's all they got. If they lose that, then it's pretty much they've lost everything that they're.
So who takes their stuff?
The others.
The others, yes.
Yeah, the others. Right now it's really, really bad. We've gone through so many clothes and so many coats and stuff. Like daily, I have probably 10 people come crying on my shoulder that someone just stole all their stuff. And it's an ongoing thing. They're stealing their dirty clothes. They're stealing their clean clothes. They're stealing their coat we just gave them. And they're literally crying, saying, Bobby, I'm so sorry, but they took my coat from me. I fell asleep for 20 minutes and I woke up, everything was gone. So it's a real issue, right? And then the mental state of them already at that time is not great. And then when all that happens, it's just all their hope is lost, right?
Yeah.
So that's when they come to the shack. We give them the hugs, the smiles, and we treat them with love and respect. And we try and hook them up with enough stuff so they can have a couple days to change or, to feel human again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would be absolutely essential for anybody that's living rough like that, like on a daily basis? What are the things that are going to keep you alive?
Just coming to visit us at the shack with, we treat everybody with respect. They're the most important thing for that 2.5 hours, right? Every single one of them is the most important thing. It doesn't matter what condition they're in, if they're high or not, or crying or whatever. It's just whatever you need. I tell all my volunteers, just whatever they need, let's get them. They're coming in crying, they're leaving smiling. Yeah. That's it. We just, the love, right?
Yeah.
Love, respect, and whatever dignity they have left, I try to bring that out. Right, and it changes them. Like the soup shack changes people. It changes the volunteers. It changes me. It changes the people that visit it every day. It truly is amazing.
But getting back to things, what things are going to keep a person
just
alive?
Just giving them that time.
Yeah.
Making sure that. Making them feel that they're the most important thing right there, right? Yeah. Because they're not a loser, they're not a drug addict, they're not that to me. They're a human who's hurting, and you give them your time, that makes a whole difference.
Yeah. If they're living rough, though,
well, all of them are living rough right now.
Yeah, right. Spending 2 hours a night with you and the volunteers, that's helping them to stay alive. That's helping them to be rehumanized, reconnected.
It's a start, right?
Right. But for the other 22 hours that they're not with your team, and they're making it through the night in this kind of weather, or in the heat of the day in summer, what are some just practical things?
Like clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, clothes and blankets, underwear, and socks, and shoes.
Yeah.
Right. We clean their feet actually for them on the sidewalks. We've done it. Like it's so dirty, right? Their feet are so dirty. We give them new socks. We just take the time to wipe their feet, so give them new socks, give them some new shoes. And it means the world to them.
So you guys are like washing their feet.
We're washing their feet right on Wyandotte Street. And that's that. They're so embarrassed when they're like, no, it's okay. I'm like, no, let's take them out because their feet are hurting. Their feet are sores. You know what I mean? And I say, well, a fresh pair of socks, no matter how many days it's been since you had a shower, a fresh pair of socks and underwear makes a whole world of a difference, even if you don't even get a shower.
Yeah.
Right? Just that feeling of putting that sock on and getting on with your day is truly amazing when you don't have it. Right? And so and that's it. And I'm not shy to do that. Like I will literally take the socks off them and wipe it and put it on and give them some shoes to fit. And if I don't have any shoes that fit them, I work real hard to try and find them.
Yeah.
So, it's just the essential things for the day that, they don't really like to carry much things around because it's not going to last long.
Yeah.
Right? So have a good change of clothes for most of them is pretty much the most important thing. And just, like I said, showing them the love and respect.
Yeah. Now, Soup Shack's been in 3 locations.
Yep.
All
We've
of
done the
them.
tour.
What's that?
We've done the tour.
You've done the tour, yeah, down in the core, right?
Yeah.
And each of those locations has been basically on the good graces of a church that says, yeah, we can set up here. But 3 different locations that are blocks apart from each other. Talk a little bit about the 3 locations, maybe some of the things that you experienced in that location that might have been different than another location, and also do you consistently see the same people no matter where you go, or is it kind of at each spot created a new crowd?
Yes, it's grown. Like the first spot, Throne of Grace, we started, it was our first day there, it was like 5 people. And then it came to like 20. And then I think by the time we were asked to leave, we hit 30 people. So we were getting the people from the Salvation Army and some from the mission, right? Because it was kind of right in the middle. I did get a few of the street people that finally came out and sat with us, and actually one of them is cleaning today from it. And then when we got asked to leave, we had a little pause. Then we went to the Hope Center.
Yeah.
Right? And then when we got to Parkwood, it exploded. And I remember the day was just like automatically it was 80 a night. We went from 20 to 30 to 80.
That was at Wyandotte?
Wyandotte and Parent.
Yeah.
So, and then like after a month or 2 there, people were finally coming, oh my gosh, we found you. We thought you guys were done. And it was just like, no, we had a little pause, but now we found a new home. And then all of a sudden it exploded. And, we had our difficulties because people didn't want us there, but we actually cleaned up the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We go there, we clean up the neighborhoods.
Picking up litter in the alley.
Yeah, because,
cleaning up after yourself.
They were so faithful that we're there and doing and providing this for them that they were making sure that this was clean and safe. Because then we started experiencing kids and families, and we had the immigrant families coming in, so the whole thing changed.
Yeah.
Right? And, they were lining up at 6 o'clock at night. Like lining up down Wyandotte Street waiting for us to open at 7. Like, how amazing is that, right?
Yeah.
And just waiting. And they weren't fighting or nothing, just sitting there waiting, talking. So then when Parkwood opened, I tried to convince Pastor Brian to sell me the building, but he wouldn't do it.
So I tried to convince him to sell
me
you
the building, yeah, but he wouldn't do it. So when we went to All Saints Church, well, see, Wyandotte was difficult too because the cars were there. There were people throwing stuff at us. The mufflers, those mufflers. It was challenging.
Yeah.
And because it was a spectacle, right? Because they see like there's 120 people all in this parking lot hanging out. What the heck is going on there? And that's when it really evolved. The Soup Shack is the whole community started seeing it. The community started coming out. And then people just dropping off donations at the shack and everything. It grew. When we moved to All Saints, it was another blessing because now we had that calmness there. So, we've built a community inside a community, right? When they're there, it's like almost like camping. It's a park setting, right? It's calm, it's peaceful. They can sit down, they chill, and the changes I've seen in the people, because it's the same people that come with a few friends,
They
it's
can
changed.
wave at the mayor's office.
Yeah. The mayor did come down. one day.
Yeah,
We smoked them
that's
out.
right.
Yeah. So the mayor is funny because we had a big barbecue. We had actually people from Leamington come down from Burgess, and they purchased the burgers and everything for us. And they were having a council meeting in the church, so we smoked them out. And the mayor came out and was like, I couldn't stop. I had to come out because all I kept smelling was burgers. So he came out and visited us, and then I took him for a tour in the shack and stuff. And I told him what we were doing, and he came and mingled with the visitors and stuff. Right? It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you watch for it in the roll, there is a picture that'll come up with the mayor. And
I want you to tell me what thing you see the most of all these pictures. You'll notice one thing's always happening.
Smiles.
That's right.
Smiles, yeah.
Everybody's smiling. Everybody has fun, and we've created a safe space for them for 2 hours, and that's what's most important, right?
Yeah.
In the year and a half, and we're dealing with the front line, right? Like you said the other day, we're dealing with them high, we're dealing with the drugs on them, we're dealing with everything, and I am so honored and proud to say that we've never even had an overdose.
Yeah, not there.
Not there. They don't do drugs there. They know they will not even bring out the drugs there. I don't even allow them smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
And they respect that. And I said, because I'm doing this for you guys. I'm doing this for you. And they respect that. And they respect me and all the volunteers.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing how much they have changed. When you walk through there and you come hang out, or if you decide to, you'll never hear an argument going on. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's saying I love you. Everybody's saying God bless you. Right? It's truly amazing what's going on in there.
You've done some birthday parties too.
Oh yeah,
Tell us about that.
We were at Parkwood, and I had my birthday party. It was my 50th birthday party, because I thank God that I was able to even make it to 50. That's part of it there. Oh no, that was the barbecue. We had like 300 people there, I think. We gave out 260 meals, I think, that night. We had 8 tables set up. We had music. We had everything. That whole parking lot was just full. Parkwood came out. And the beauty thing about that is everybody was together. Everybody was mingling together, sitting together. It wasn't just them off to the side. Everybody was involved, and it was just, it was pretty cool. And the neighbor across the street kind of gave us a little grief sometimes. And he came to me the next day, and he's like, Bobby, I have to commend you. There was not one speck of a litter on the ground. I don't know how you guys did it, because we stopped at like 10 o'clock at night, right? And he's just like, I don't know how you did it, but congrats, right? So we have birthday parties for some special people every once in a while that come through the shack. There's some of the kids from Afghan that visit us all the time now, right? And we have another birthday party coming up Wednesday.
Yeah.
Another 50th for one of my volunteers. She's been dedicated volunteer since we started at Parkwood.
Yeah.
So we're going to throw her up.
So tell me about your volunteers, where they come from, what's involved in becoming a volunteer,
pass the Bob test. No.
Pass the Bob test, yeah.
Well, I had the best volunteers. I don't know how I got blessed with this, but we have a large diverse of volunteers. We have professors from the university. We have I can't even remember. We have social workers. We have nurses. We have business owners. We have former addicts. We have the Leamington Hope Center comes out twice a month most times. What else we got? I can't remember at all. But we have a large, diverse. And the thing is, we have a dental student. The most thing is, I told them, it's just like this is a non-judgment zone.
Right. So what do you do when, particularly Christian? Well, it could be Christian people, but it could also be people that come with another agenda. If some people think, oh, good, you've gathered them up for me, so now I'm gonna preach the gospel,
Oh, yeah.
or are you going to have people who, I'm sure that you may have had some dealers kind of scoping it out and saying, maybe you had people who are coming around looking to pick up girls. People could have all kinds of ulterior motives, and because it's out in the open, and talk a little bit about how you secure the perimeter, and also in particular with Christians that just think, well, I'm just here to preach.
Yeah.
And what do you do with them?
Well, when they first come in and ask if they can volunteer, and they're a preacher or pastor or whatever, I lay it right on the line. There's no radical preaching going on here. You can pray for them if you ask them and they agree, but we cannot have them going there and radicalize preaching it, because it causes issues. They're not in the state to even, like Brian was saying before, right? They're not in that state to understand that, right? So,
but they understand love.
They understand love.
Yeah.
And that's why I wear these shirts. Like, this is my OG original outfit from the Soup Shack. And this I wore this like every day, right? And I don't. Yeah, I put on extra cologne today. I don't preach nothing to them. I do what I do. And when the volunteers see what I do, that's what catches them. They're like, yeah, that's what they're just watching me go around there is enough for them, and they just want to see that, right? And so I don't preach anything to them. I just tell them, Jesus saved my life.
Yeah,
right.
Jesus like Brian was talking about.
Yeah,
this is my story.
That's right. We get their story first, and then they come and ask me the questions. Well, how? Right? How? And I'll tell them, and then that opens the door, right? And then, because the thing is, they say to me all the time is, we're watching you all the time, and we want what you have, right? And I told them, this is why I wear the shirts, right? Jesus saved my life.
Just curious in the audience here, how many of you have never either you don't know Bobby or you've never heard his testimony?
Well,
yeah, just like this. So let's spin backwards. You grew up and in a very young age got introduced to drugs.
I'll give him a fast run.
Yeah, give them a fast run, and pick up in particular in Hamilton when you said, someday that's what I want to do. Yeah. So give us the...
So I've been a drug addict for 37 years, most of my life. It started when I was 9 years old, smoking marijuana. It turned into huffing gas, sniffing glue. By 12, I was dealing cocaine, hash on the streets of Toronto, living on the streets, on the grades. I was in a gang at 15, 16, 17. Again, selling drugs, living on the streets, looking for love and hope, right? Daddy didn't love me, kind of attitude. So then getting married, I had kids. I had 6 kids. I was married for 23 years, and then I just lost it. I went back out on the streets and started cocaine again, selling crack and meth and fentanyl. Well, after a few years of that, I ended up in prison, and then that's when it kind of started to turn around. So I did about a 3.5 year bid in prison, and then COVID came. I was locked up. I had no idea. I'm a COVID miracle, by the way. COVID, they let me out a little early. I had no idea Hamilton was shut down. I said, well, can I go to the mission? Can I go to Salvation Army? They was like, nope, everything is closed. I said, well, why are you letting me out? Right? The whole world changed on me in 3.5 years. I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on. So in Hamilton, it's called Barton Street. There's a jail. Right across the street was where all the homeless people and addicts and mental illness and stuff were all living. It was called Tent City. And when I walked into Tent City, well, I was a needle IV drug user. When I left, I was putting like 15 to 20 needles a day in my arm, trying to die. And then 5 minutes after getting released to prison, I had a needle in my arm. And so I'm sitting there, wandering around this tent city. There must have been 600 people, all tucked into this little, like, I can't even describe and tell you how awful it was in there. So after about a week or so, I remembered there was a God, and I prayed, Lord, get me out of here, and I'll never touch a needle again. And within like 2-3 days, I was in Launchpad Recovery Center. Oh, the grace of God that opened that door from actually detox, because they wouldn't let me come in. So I called like 50 times, and then they gave me a number for Launchpad Recovery Center, and that's how I came in. So the last time I left Windsor was 2017, I believe, and I was having the chop house. I was running a chop house right beside the Mission. It's called now the White House, which is now the Colorful House, which is the Cotton Candy House. So
that was where
that was my last place of residence.
That was where you were dealing drugs.
Yeah. We were up to like 150 sometimes a night. David, people come through there. Dave was one of my guys. So when I prayed to God to get me out of here, He got me out of there. When I arrived to where the rehab was another thing, because it was right across the street from the White House. And so I believe God had His divine time. And it's like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back to the chopping houses there, or do you want to go into rehab? And so I made the choice. I surrendered. I said, I'm going to rehab. And ever since that day I surrendered, it has been nothing but blessings. Nothing but blessings.
3.5 years.
3.5 years ago. Mind you, when I got arrested in 2017, I believe I was 120 pounds. 120 pounds, and I wouldn't eat for like weeks, days. You know, it's just it was pretty bad. I was just hoping that I didn't have to live anymore to deal with it. So when I figured out that I can't beat God, and I wanted to stop tempting God, I decided to surrender, and it has been the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah, for sure. So, by the way, we'll give you an opportunity to ask questions here in a minute as well. Ask Bobby some questions. But Bobby, you know, one of the things that as part of recovery, you know, the reality of not jumping back to old associations, the reality of not going back to the same environments, because those can trigger, you know, stir up desire to use again, or the, you know, for some people the downfall is a relationship. You know, there's all these triggers, all these things in recovery, and yet today you are able to be constantly in the presence of people that are living rough like you were. And talk to me a bit about, you know, how Jesus helps you and how other people help you to not be just sucked back in. When you came back to Windsor, and Launchpad at that time was on Olette Avenue, and you look across the street and there's your old drug house, you know, like God was positioning you to say, which is it going to be? You better choose. And you chose to go with the Lord. You chose to go with recovery. But how are you protected now so that when you're with people that you know on the streets that are coming to the window of the soup shack, and you know that they could get you hooked up that fast? So what? Talk about that part of your life.
I believe I got delivered from all that. Because I extensively prayed that, you know, this was the last chance, or else, you know, unfortunately I put a bullet in my head. So I asked him to totally do a transformation on me. I just asked for guidance. I asked for, you know, the strength, you know, and to open my heart, not block it no more, so I can take in, you know. And what he kept telling me is, you know, the Bible is the blueprint. of how to live, right? It's hard to
So
go.
do you read the Bible?
Yeah, every morning.
Every morning.
5:30 in the morning. I'm up reading it. That's how I guard myself. If I do not do my devotions, I do not do my reading, then I'm open for attack right away. And I believe in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just stay focused, and like, I got a do-over, I got mercy, I got grace, and I'm not gonna take advantage of that anymore. So he has equipped me with being free from the withdrawals, being free from the thoughts. I focus everything on him. What would Jesus do? Remember that old saying? What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
Right? And it took me a long time to get to even where I am today. Like, it took me 2 years of recovery straight before I even took step out into the mission field. And I said, 2 years is up. So I prayed, what do you want me to do? And then this shack came up, right? And I'm like, okay. So I went and did it. But then, when the first day I got there, something just changed in me. My heart was just throbbing and sobbing for them. Like, I saw me in every one of those people. And I'm like, if I can do it, they can do it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I tell them, like, I was saved by grace to give you guys hope.
Yeah.
Like, he pulled me right out of that. And, to this day, I should not be as healthy and here and be in this world today from what I was doing, but I am perfectly healthy and perfectly clean, and like, I even got my veins back. It's amazing, right? So, and that's what I tell the people, and I don't hide nothing, right? I tell them, like, listen, man, I know it sucks, and I know you have to face reality, and I know you have to do it, but you have to do it to get anywhere. And the only way is following Jesus, because He'll save your life and drop everybody else, and He will put the right people in your path as long as you're doing the right things.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah. And He has.
Yep. Dave, can I put you on the spot and ask you to come on up here and join Bobby? I didn't pre-warn you, so you didn't have time to worry about it. Yeah, no, come on up here and grab a seat. Yeah, give that mic back to Bobby. I got this one here. Yeah. So this is
oh boy.
This is David Valaquette, and Dave lives actually just across the street from the church here. You came through Launchpad Recovery Center. You were one of the early birds in that program, and you got your recovery. How long has it been for you?
Almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years, yeah. And you knew Bobby before and after, right? And you've been involved a fair bit with the Soup Shack as well. I'm going to hand you the mic and just hold it close to your mouth, and I'll hold the mic for you, make it easier. But can you just talk a little bit about Bobby? and you can say whatever you want. You can embarrass him. I don't care. But talk a bit about Bobby, because how long you've known him, and the before and after, what you're seeing.
So I came into recovery 5 years ago in the jails. So just prayed. He saved me. I met Bobby on the streets for a couple of years. We used together. We sold together. We talked about getting clean together in jail, out of jail. A little bit of hope. And yeah.
Slept on the streets together. Yeah. We did stole stuff together.
We did it
all together.
Yeah, right? We did it all.
How is Bobby the same as when you first met him? How is he different?
He's got a big heart today. He had a big heart back then too. People would come up to him. They were hurting. He would give them stuff. And he's today, as being clean, he's doing it again, serving soup. Yeah.
You too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, Bobby, same question about Dave. Dave before and after. What's the same about Dave? What's different?
Dave always had a heart as well, and that's I think why we clicked together. Boy, was he in trouble all the time, though, right? Like, he was living in the bush in Chatham as well, and he would do the things that he had to do to get his dope. And today, he's part of the, he's like, I watch him all the time to see how he just, all he cares about is what they want and making sure that they have what they need and they're happy today. He doesn't, he's a shy guy, right? But out there, I love having him because the people relate to him as well. And this is what makes it click, right? Because we were there. We've done it, we did it, and now we're here. And he's amazing, and he's such a light for the Soup Shack, and I'm so thankful that he's around today. But we cried when we first saw each other because we didn't see each other for a long time, right? And I had no idea. I didn't know if he was alive, dead, and same as him with me, right? And it was quite the day, and that kind of gave me my boost. Because here he is. We talked about this for a long time, and here he was already a year ahead of me. Wow.
I'm going to say one thing about the Soup Shack. When I was homeless on the streets, and I would go to a church on a Tuesday night, and I was hungry, and I was starving, and these people would be like, hey, God's good. I didn't care about God at the time, but they were giving me that little bit of hope, and I was using, right? And I'm grateful for that, right? And that's what I'm doing today at the Soup Shack also, right? Just give them that hope, right? Because I needed that hope when I was using. So,
Great.
yeah.
Can we thank Dave for being ready for the impromptu? We got some time for some questions or comments. Anybody here? I've got a microphone. I can wander around. And
Come on, give it to me.
You can, I'll bring coming right back here. And just introduce yourself. You don't have to give your whole name unless you want to, your first name, and then your comment or your question.
Brandy from the DWCC. I had the pleasure the other night of going out with a couple of streetlight workers to see the Soup Shack. I first heard Bobby talking at a meeting we were all at, and I was really touched by his testimony and story. I've been walking the streets now for about a year and a half, and everything you say is true, and it's beautiful. And if you guys can only just try it once, you'll fall in love. And it'll be like a love you'll never experience in your entire life. It truly is beautiful. And there are so many Bobbies on the street that just need a little touch of hope, And I encourage all of you, what he's doing is a beautiful thing. And it really is, it's such a gift.
Thank you, Brandy. Yeah, and great the work that DWCC is doing, and I'm glad you're looped in with them because good stuff happening. Yeah, and this is Wendell. What's your comment or question?
How you doing, Bobby?
I'm good, brother.
Good. I volunteered with Bobby, and my main concern was where was government? Why wasn't they fulfilling a need for the homeless? Donations. That was my question.
Well, I'm not a government official, so I don't know. All I know is I'll do whatever I can to get whatever they need, right? And this is where it is. Like, the community has come out so much with donating clothes and everything else, and that's the beauty of this, because what we get, it's out within minutes, right?
Yes.
With the government, from my understanding, it's a big thing, right? What we get is just, I don't have time for government officials to give me yes or no. It's, you got to deal with what you're seeing right now, right? And I have, most of the time I have a 30 seconds to a 1 minute window of a decision to make of how I'm going to help this person or react with this person, right? Everything is on the cuff, just like this. Like, it's not planned. It's just whatever it comes, and we take it and we try to utilize whatever we can as much as we can, and we're thankful for whatever we get. And the community is just crazy with these donations. Like the one that had the coat drive, we did that in 3 hours. We got almost 400 coats in 4 hours, right? It's just amazing. And And that's what the beauty is, right? Everything just goes out and comes in and goes out.
Okay, we've got time for, I would say, maybe 2 more questions.
There's one right behind you.
So right here, and this is Barbara Ann.
Hi.
Hi, Barbara.
I commend you. How do you get the donations?
Facebook, word of mouth.
And where do they bring them?
Well, we used to have a donation center, but we sold it. So now pretty much they just call me and I go get it, or they bring it to the soup shack, or they'll drop it off here, or the kitchen.
So you can bring them here?
Well, sometimes. But like usually, like if I have an email where you can get a hold of me and say I have this donation stuff, and then I usually go pick it up, right? Like my van and car is always full of stuff, right? And that's the thing. Right? This is the thing that others don't see as that. I work full time as well, right? So as soon as I'm done work, it's usually going around picking up stuff, and you know, it's not what's the word I'm looking for? Unseen for me to open my door and everything falls out. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, and some things right now we're on hold because we have limited space, right? But now that the summer's coming, it'd be better you just bring it to the soup shack and either I'll take it to get it washed or whatever, and then we'll put it out as fast as possible.
Since the time that we recorded that interview, Bobby has been working with a team of people to create his own ministry organization and to take on the soup shack and actually expand it into other services. They're looking to locate a building and be able to minister to the homeless in greater ways. So we'll keep you posted as their ministry develops. On our next episode, Mike Morency and Kim Court, a husband and wife couple, they're doing a session on grief and loss. And the one thing that's for certain in frontline ministry in the city is that you will deal with a lot of grief and loss as people die from many causes. People have their lives fall apart, and so we're going to learn some good insights on how all of us can deal better with grief and loss. So come on back for the next episode of Sidewalk Skyline podcast, and until that time, I'm your host, Kevin Rogers.